Okay, Brett, what I'd like to get to today is something called the five-factor model. And the five-factor model is kind of a foundational model in CBT that takes a look at the links between our thoughts and how they impact our moods and our behaviors and what our body does in response. So are you game to kind of learn this and work through it together?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
So the first thing we always need in these types of exercises is a situation. And in CBT, we always start with the here and now, kind of what's going on today, what happened a couple days ago, what might we be thinking about in the future. And what we're looking for is the who, what, where, and when of a situation. So we kind of really map it out, what was going on. And we're kind of looking for a 30-minute window of where your mood started to shift to something more negative than it was initially. So for this exercise right now, let's just come up with a hypothetical situation. And how about I suggest we do something like we go to the dollar store, okay? And at the dollar store, we're buying our, I don't know, Tupperware or stickers or whatever you buy at the dollar store. And the clerk is really rude to you, kind of curt and rude. Okay? So we've got kind of a clear idea of what was going on. Does that make some sense?
Yeah, so rude, like they were ignoring me or something.
Yeah. Maybe not even ignoring, maybe be still kind of being short and not talking to you very well, that kind of stuff.
Not acknowledging me.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, all right. So you can kind of imagine that. So after we've got the situation kind of nailed down and really figured out, then we move to the thought and image box. And what we're really looking for here is something called our negative automatic thoughts. And our negative automatic thoughts are thoughts that are going through our minds all the time. They're thoughts that pop into our brain kind of without much of our awareness. They occur in shorthand, but they really impact how we feel. And really what they are about is us making meaning or trying to understand what's going on around us. You can kind of imagine it almost like a voiceover in a movie or maybe a marquee that's going through your head. We're trying to understand what's happening, whether it's right or wrong or based on truth or not. That's what we're looking for here. And so sometimes they're thoughts and sometimes they're images that go through our minds. But if you think, kind of imagine that you're at this dollar store, the clerk is rude, kind of ignoring you, being kind of short and curt. What do you think would go through your mind? What would be one meaning that you could put on this?
First thing would be that this person is being a jerk.
This person is a jerk.
Yeah.
Sure. This person is a jerk. Sure, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. If we were in that situation, we could think, boy, what a jerk, hey? And if that was the meaning or the thought that we kind of hung on to or said, yeah, that's probably what's going on, believed to be true, how do you suppose that would impact the way you were feeling? What emotions or moods might pop up for you related to this?
I think, anger, frustration, that kind of thing.
Yeah, anger, frustration. And when we're doing these exercises, it helps to get really clear about emotions. And so very often we'll rate them. So how angry were you on a scale, how angry would you be on a scale of 1 to 100%?
I think, so frustration, probably 50.
50%
yeah,
frustration.
Something like that.
Okay. And how about anger?
Similar. Like 55 to 60.
55 to 60.
Yeah.
Maybe a little stronger.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Any other emotions that might pop up?
Maybe a little bit sadness in a way.
A bit of sadness. Okay.
If I'm having a bad day,
Sure. Yeah. And how strong would that be, do you think?
40.
Maybe 40.
Yeah.
Okay, something a little lower. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that does make some sense, doesn't it? The person is a jerk, that's what's going through our minds. We start feeling kind of angry and frustrated, maybe a little bit sad, right? And those emotions are kind of in the mid-range point there. Okay. So if we kind of follow this around, or I should also say that I kind of have a simple rule when you're doing this exercise at home, that thoughts are phrases and moods are going to be single words. Because very often we'll say things like, I feel like they were a jerk. Mm-hmm. Well, they are a jerk, that was the thought, and the emotion, the feeling, is the anger and the frustration and sadness. That's called thought-feeling fusion. We don't want to do that. We want to keep it kind of separate. So that's just something to kind of be aware of. Thoughts are phrases, moods are single words. Okay, so got our situation, we've got our thought, we've identified our moods. If we continue this around, we're feeling kind of angry, feeling kind of frustrated, maybe a bit sad. How do you think you might behave? Person's kind of rude. What do you think you might do as a responsive behavior?
I might mirror, I might be rude back.
You might be kind of rude back.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Because it all depends on
Sure.
on the day, right?
Yeah, it depends on the day, and I think that's a good point, right? A lot of this is going to be dependent. We'll maybe talk about that next. But sure, maybe one thing you might do is be kind of rude back. What else might happen, do you think?
I might want to report them to their manager.
Oh, sure. Talk to the manager. You're going to go right to the big guns here. Yeah.
Or I might want to confront them,
Or
and just say,
confront.
you know, you're being rude.
Sure. Yeah. So that might be all stuff in the moment. Yeah. You might be rude back. You know, I want to talk to your manager, that kind of thing, or even confront them to sort of ask them what's going on. Sure. And these things often kind of linger with us. And you know, maybe you go back home and then you're kind of rude to the kids or feeling frustrated at work. That kind of starts to infiltrate our day a little bit. Eh? Okay. And so we're following this around. Our final box here is our physical responses. What do you think that's all about?
How my body feels.
Yeah, you got it.
Sensations. That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
what's going on inside of our body physically. So again, hypothetically, we got this situation, person is a jerk, we're angry, frustrated, we're gonna be rude back maybe. What might be going on physically for you?
I think maybe have a racing heart probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably feel tense.
Yeah. And how would that be physically, feeling tense? Is that tight muscles?
Yeah,
Is that-
tight muscles, I think.
Sure. Right.
Might get a little bit sweaty.
Yeah, sure, yeah, that's right. That does happen, doesn't it, when we get angry or we
Yeah.
get kind of frustrated, get kind of sweaty.
Yeah.
Sure. So here we go. Here's one kind of go around this model based on a particular thought or interpretation of this store clerk being rude to us.
So you're saying the thought set all this in motion?
That's kind of the idea. The concept here is that it's not the situation that makes us feel angry or frustration, but the way that we interpret it, the way we're understanding it and giving meaning to it. So, yeah,
But they were being a jerk.
okay,
So I'm not sure I see any other real way to.
okay. Well, that's a perfect segue. Let's see if there's another way to think about this.
Okay.
So let's erase all this. So this person is a jerk way of thinking about it. And that's one meaning that we could put on it. But I guess if we kind of buy into this model, there could be other meanings or other ways to understand the situation. So just kind of think about that a bit. What would be another way to give a meaning to this or to understand this? You're at the same situation, you're at the dollar store, you're buying your Tupperware, and the person is kind of rude or curt to you. What's another way to think about this?
I guess if I'm in a good mood, you know, and if I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, I could just think something like they're having a bad day.
Maybe they're having a bad day.
Something like that.
Sure, interesting. So there's another meaning. They're having a bad day.
Okay.
What's coming to mind?
Yeah. No, I'm just seeing now how there are other ways. To
Okay.
look at it.
So what light bulb just went off for you there?
Just that is a different meaning.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That
Right.
I suppose there's a choice
Yeah.
there that I don't think I would normally look at it
Right.
that way.
Right.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And let's follow this through, and then let's pick up on that conversation about that choice, because I think that's really important for us to take note of. So I think you're kind of already on board, but let's say this was our meaning. Oh gosh, they're having a bad day. How would you feel? Remember single words.
I think I'd feel okay.
You'd feel okay.
You know, like I would, I don't know, maybe even sympathy.
Sure. Maybe a bit of sympathy.
You know, I've had bad days too.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes we might call something like that kind of compassion.
Maybe, yeah, maybe
little bit
some
of
compassion.
Yeah, should I put that on here?
Yeah.
These might be kind of harder to rate, but do you have a sense, you know, okay, I'm not sure if that's an emotion, but how strong would that be, do you think?
Yeah, I think I just mean probably sympathy by that, but
Okay.
I'm thinking it's probably even not that strong though. Probably 40.
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that, you
sure.
know. It's probably not that big a deal in the big scheme of things.
Yeah.
You know.
There's another thought here. It's not that big a deal,
Oh, yeah.
right? Once we start paying attention to this, thoughts are going to pop up all over the place. It's not that big a deal. Almost another way to interpret it, right? Okay, So, I mean, we're going to kind of go shorthand here, but how, so you think about this in a different way. They're having a bad day, no big deal. You feel a little bit of sympathy and compassion. Maybe how strong would you think compassion would be?
Probably 40.
40?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I don't see it as a big.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it kind of changes things, right?
Yeah.
What might then your behaviors be?
I might just ignore it.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Kind of let it go.
Let it go.
Okay.
Give them maybe a quick little smile.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I've had those days too, kind of thing.
Right.
You know, acknowledgement kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe you kind of be a little generous and
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then how would your body respond, do you think?
Oh, I think calmness.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of calm. Yeah. Okay.
Relax. That kind
Yeah,
of.
kind of relaxed.
Yeah. Maybe
All right.
even feel a little bit better. I might, you know, depending on just seeing other people have bad days too. Do you know what I mean? It might,
Yeah.
in some way, it could even make me feel like, I have bad days, so do they.
Sure,
You know, like
sure.
we're all human.
We're all human. And there's another thought, a really important one. We're all human. Oh, we've all had bad days. All right, here's yours. I've had mine, right? We call that common humanity, but there's another thought. We're all human. Huh. Okay, so check it out. Same situation, two entirely different interpretations of it. One was they're a jerk and we got angry and kind of stormed around and talked to the manager. And another one is, oh, they're having a bad day. And that opened up to other thoughts. It's not a big deal. We're all human. We all have bad days. And I brought in sympathy and compassion. We kind of ignore it, let it go, maybe smile, feel calm and relaxed. And you were saying, I just want to pick up on what you said before. You were saying, oh, that's kind of a choice that you hadn't thought about before. What's it like now, having kind of looked through this?
It's amazing because you just don't slow down
Right.
enough to really think about this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you just take for granted the immediate thing.
Right.
You know, the first thing that came to my mind was they're a jerk.
Right.
It's the only way to look at it,
Sure.
right? Of course they're being a jerk,
Yeah.
right? But then I guess when you look at this, I mean, no, that was a choice I had made
Right.
automatically
Right.
without even probably knowing
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
a choice. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the way that you've framed it has made me look at it differently.
Look a little differently.
Yeah.
And that's the tricky thing about our thoughts, is that we take them as truth.
Mhm.
Right? And why wouldn't we? They go through our minds, that are like they feel true. But that's a really good question often to ask ourselves, is my interpretation based on truth or something else?
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you think this might show up in your week this week?
Oh, I bet it's everywhere, right? If it's kind of how many of these automatic thoughts are kind of
Yeah.
that am I not aware of? Am I not looking at? You know,
Sure.
that's kind of determining this flow of how I
Right.
feel and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think it's probably everywhere.
Yeah, I bet you're probably right. So in terms of maybe homework or kind of coming up with a between therapy task, how might you want to interact with this or practice this, or what might you want to do?
I think I'd want to start paying attention to becoming aware of just what I am thinking.
Sure.
You know, like what
Sure.
are the automatic
Yeah.
thoughts here that
What are the automatic thoughts?
that I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. And do you have an idea of how you might kind of raise your awareness to that or keep track of it?
Maybe by my mood. Like
Sure.
if I
Yeah.
if I notice my mood change,
Sure. Yeah.
then I could say, what am I thinking?
Yeah. Now I'm even thinking kind of in a more practical way, you know, would it be helpful to have some blank copies of this that you could kind of follow it through?
Oh, sure.
That's helpful for some people. Some people like to kind of have a thought journal that they like to work on. There's even a pretty cool app called Mood Kit that does a great job of helping to track moods and
Okay.
thoughts as well.
An app would be easy because
Okay.
I can go on my phone and
Yeah.
you know nobody's.
That's right. That's the good thing with our app, right? And the really great thing with that app is you can actually upload stuff and send me the material, so I can
Oh,
kind of
good.
have a look before we
Oh.
have our next session.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't I show you that app, and that
Sure.
can be your homework this week.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Great.